So this is a video about how to use the 3D printer, the hardware person by the McCormick Texture. So first things first, you want to start the 3D printer. So if you look at it right now, the button is glowing. This means the printer has power. If it's like completely off, like there is no light glowing from it, that means there is no power. Unfortunately, our room, you can turn on and off the power from another switch, but luckily this printer is on and is being supplied power, but it isn't like physically on. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold the button and then I'm gonna wait until the screen lights up. So now it's actually gonna be on and it's gonna go through the sequence, but just in case if the light switch isn't glowing, you can go over here. So over here, you have overhead lights, room power, and then do not touch. So people shouldn't be touching this, but if people accidentally hit it and you see there's like no power, just like hit this. But like there shouldn't be a thing, hopefully, later on. So now going back to the printer. So here we are, so it's like loading. So finally it's gonna open up the home screen. So it's booting. So while we're waiting for it to boot, I just want to say one. So here's like all the forms you need to use. So every time you start printing or you take out your print, you need to fill out the login and logout form, which is right here. If you ever need help with that printer, you can always go on the help form. This is wrong, don't follow this. I'll tell you later how you can check your print remotely. As for printing, you always want to follow the checklist. So every time you print, you always want to have the checklist by your side and follow the directions. So you should make sure you have your G-code file ready by importing the .stl file into the Sindoh software, which I did in a previous video. And you want to make sure that the object's not off the plate, and if you need supports, you have supports. So you should have your G-code file on a flash drive, which I have right here. Having your personal flash drive would be great. And then the second thing you want to check is if the printer is empty. So if we like look at the printer, this is like the position where the printer will always be empty. It's all the way down and it's towards the front and there's nothing on it. However, it could be that there is like something on there, like it could be like this and like you would be like it's not empty, but this is the done position, so like you can just take it off. So how to take off the build plate is it's magnetic, so you literally lift this up and then you slide it off, and then all you have to do is you literally bend it to take it off. If you can't bend it, I will tell you where the 3D printer accessories are, and you can take a scalpel and scrape it off, being mindful of not scraping the build plate. So I'm gonna put this back, but the way you put this back evenly is, so you see these guiders? So if you look over here, there's also guiders over here as well, these gray things. So all you wanna do is you wanna just keep sliding them back in until you hit the guiders and let go. And then that's like stuck there. So if how do you know if the printer is printing? Because if it's printing, you want to leave it alone. So the printer will be up here, like this build plate will be up here and over here, and this will be moving. This like filament thing will be moving, and this will be up and down here. So that means the printer is in the printing mode, so please do not turn off the printer or stop the print. So another thing you want to do is if you want to print, you're going to insert the flash drive in here and then you're going to hit print. So over here it has all your files, so I'm just going to choose a random file right now. So it shows you the preview, so just in case if you choose the wrong file or file name, you can always like check it. So now if you see, there are 3 options, but 2 of them are grayed out. So this one is play. So you can hit play and it will start printing it. I'm not gonna start printing it because then it would take too much time. So the other 2 options, which are pause and stop. So pause, the reason why pause is so important is while the 3D printer is running, I don't want you to stick your hand in at all. Like do not stick your hand in. During the course of this video, I will be sticking my hand in, but that is because I know how the printer works. Please do not stick your hand in. So if the printer is printing and you want to like put your hand in for some apparent reason, like there's something in the way of your print, you want to hit the pause button, let the print go all the way down to the done position, and then do whatever you need to do. You can also change filaments in this step. So as I said in training, you can always change the filament. It doesn't have to be one color. You can stop it midway. The only caveat to that is you need to state when you want to change the filament. The last option, stop, is something went so wrong that you need to stop the print and you're not going to resume printing. Pause resumes the printing after you're done whatever you're doing from that point. Stop completely stops it, and if you want to keep printing, you're going to have to restart the print entirely. So there are two reasons why you would stop the print completely and never like resume it. So if we go back to the build plate, when it starts printing, it's gonna start printing from this corner and go all the way to the center where your object is. This is called the calibration step. You want to make sure that the line printed from here to here is straight. Otherwise, that means the bed isn't leveled. As you know, 3D printing is additive. So if the first layer gets messed up, that means the entire print is going to go bad. So if for some apparent reason the line isn't straight, I want you to stop the print and then calibrate the bed level. I will tell you how to level the bed a little while later. So that's the first step. If it completes this step, the second thing it's gonna do is gonna start printing the first layer. I want you to stay until it's done printing the first layer, because as I said before, it's additive printing. Something may go wrong in the first layer and then your whole print is bad. Again, if it's not sticking to the build plate, you'll know when it's not sticking. It'll be like peeling off. So then you want to stop the print again and then level the bed again. So those are the only two reasons why you probably want to stop, unless for some reason you forgot supports and then it started to like print out the block. So here's like an example that I drew during training. If you want a refresher, again, it prints in layers, but then if you try printing here, you're hovering in midair and there's nothing to print. So you add these blue things in called supports. But if you don't add these in, it's possible that your print might turn out to be this, which isn't great and isn't what you wanted. So going back, since you have all of that ready, I'm gonna go back and go back again. And if you ever have the issue that it's not printing straight or it's peeling off, go to settings. Then there's this thing called bed leveling. I will not touch it because it's gonna go through the entire step, which takes like approximately 5 or 10 minutes. And basically it goes through all the steps with you. There will be pop-ups and it will tell you what directions to do. The only thing I want you to remember is that there's 2 green gears below here, which is the left and the right. It will tell you to turn it in whatever direction it wants you to level the bed. This might take 2 or 3 times. However, if it's taking you more than 6 attempts to level the bed, please use the help form as I said before. It is a poster next to the printer. Another thing is that if you want to check your print remotely, so you don't have to stay for the entire duration of the print. You only need to stay when it's doing the calibration step in the first layer, and you may leave. Just make sure you come back to pick up your print. So if you go to network, and then you go to Wi-Fi, there is an IP address. If you copy this IP address down, it always changes. So don't like look at the video and copy that down. Always like whenever you start printing, check the IP address if you want to check it remotely. Copy it down, put it in your computer's web browser, and then it's gonna show a video of it printing live. So there's that. So the last thing I'm going to show you is how to change the filament. But before I show you how to change the filament, I wanted to show you the login and logout form. So if you go to the login and logout form, so this is the URL. So I'm just going to enter this. So now we're going to bring it here. So you put in your first name and your last name and your Kerberos and what you're printing. And there are 5 options. So these 2 are normal. So you're starting a new print and you're taking out a print. You always want to do this because, as I said in the checklist, you want to fill it out before printing and fill it out after printing. So make sure you do that. So there's also one called restarting print due to error. So as I discussed, there's 2 errors up now. If not being calibrated properly or the first layer peeling off, you do not need to refill out the form for those 2 steps. But however, after those 2 steps, if you need to restart the print due to an error, you want to select this. So what's going to happen is if you get an error, I still want you to fill out the take out your print form. But then after that, I want you, when you're starting the print again, to say restarting print due to error. When you do your taking your print out, it will ask you if you had an error and if you're going to start now or later. So anytime you start, just say restarting a print due to error if that's the reason why you're starting it. Another thing is if you're taking out someone else's print or picking up your print taken out by someone else, if you leave your print in and it's done and it's someone else's time to do it, they're allowed to take someone else's print off. So you can also do it and someone else can also do it. The third option is I'm making sure that you picked up your print, so I'm not left with 3 billion prints in the table. So that's the login and logout form. So the final thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to change the filament. So the first thing we want to do is, if you're gonna do it before starting the print, even if you hit pause, there's a button called changing filament, which will lead you there. So you want to hit cartridge. And then the first thing you want to do is unload. So I hit unload and it gives me this screen. Make sure you read the screens that it pops up. So it says, please make sure the filament guide tube is loaded and open the front hatch. This is the front hatch. So I already had it open. This is the front hatch. Just to show you, I'm gonna open up the top hatch. And this is the filament guide tube and it's loaded. So we're good there. So I'm gonna press OK. So now it's going to optimize the temperature and it's going to decrease it. So while it's doing that, over here you have a selection of filaments. So basically you just want to look at the container and check where the color is. Whatever colors, these are the only colors we have out. We don't have any more colors. So first of all, you want to take out the box that is said to be in the printer. So it's PLA white. So I'm gonna take that out. So now, here's the confusing part. We have 2 white rolls. So this one already has 1 in. So what I'm going to do is I'm not gonna take out white. Don't do this ever. I just am doing this for the sake of the video, so I don't pull out 2 white rolls. So what I'm gonna do is instead I'm gonna put in black, because you also want to choose what color you want to put in. Because we have 2 white rolls, but only 1 box for the white, I'm going to put this extraneous white roll in another empty box. So you want to take this out, and each box should have a silicone gel, should have the chip, and should have the filament roll. So now if we go back over here, in the screen, it's telling you that you can take it out now. So I'm going to wait for the countdown to stop happening. So now it got locked again. So this is a locking mechanism. If you try taking out the filament right now, it's not going to let you. So you want to hit the unlock button and you want to hear a clicking noise and you want to pull it out after the clicking noise, but within the countdown. So it's going to count down from 10. So I'm going to wait. So there should be a clicking noise that happens soon, and then I should be able to pull it out. It didn't happen. I will try again. It's okay. There we go. There's the clicking noise. Sometimes it takes time. You heard that click? That's what I meant. So you just pull it out and take it down here. So now it'll lock again. So when you try pushing it in, it won't work. So now I'm gonna take this out. And since a lot of people have trouble with this, you want to press this, but pull the gray thing. So I'm gonna just do this. And then take it out. So now again, we have the silicone gel, which I'm gonna take out, and then we also have the chip. So the chip is in an orientation, so if you look at it on the side of the box, there's this outline which tells you how the chip should be put in and what direction. So I'm gonna take this out. So another way to remember this is that here's the name. So you want to make sure the name is with the filament, which is it is white and this is white. But one way I tell people is that you want the filament name facing in the direction of the filament. So I'm going to take that out. And then finally, I'm going to take the roll out. So what you basically do is what I do is I grab it and then I turn it. Keep turning it. Except this one decided to, this one broke off. if that ever happens, that's okay. What I usually do is I rethread this and push it out, which isn't a big deal. So now it's over here, and I'm just gonna take this out. So if you ever break the filament, it's okay. Just put in the extra filament through here, and then just keep pushing it out through this tube, and then you can take it out. So the next thing I'm gonna do is you have the filament, but it's gonna get unraveled if you leave it like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the 2 holes over here. It's also on the other side as well, but since this one reaches this one, I'm just gonna thread it through the 2 holes. So now it won't get unraveled. So there's that. So now I'm gonna go back to that box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the black box, the black filament, and take out the silicone gel. So when it's empty, what it should look like once we finish off one of the white rolls is the box should just be like this. So it wasn't like this. So we're just gonna pretend it was. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the baggie, and then this is where you put the chip in. Remember not to lose the chip. The chip is so important. If you lose the chip, we cannot use the filament roll anymore. Make sure so put in the filament and put it on the chip. If you lose the chip, we can't use the filament roll anymore. The computer will not accept filament if you do not have the chip. Make sure it's in the right orientation as well. Next thing is I'm gonna put back the silicone gel that we took out, and then you're done here, and you close this. So I'm gonna put it back. So now we have this. So the first things first, I'm gonna put in the chip. So I'm gonna put in the same orientation as I told you before. So here's the outline. So make sure you match it up. So there's that. So I'm gonna slide it in. So again, filament name should be facing towards it. Make sure it's also the same filament name you're looking for. I'm putting in black, this is black. So that's good. Next thing I'm gonna do is, as I said before, I unthreaded it, right? So I'm gonna have to unthread this. So I just basically pull out, and there we go. Make sure that the tip is cut straight. The printer will not accept it if it's not cut straight. When taking out the filament, I did not cut it. That was because it snapped on itself and was straight. But after taking out the filament, you should always snip it. We have a pair of pliers, which you can just basically snip to cut it off. So if this isn't straight, and when you take it out, just make sure to snip it. So I'm just gonna place it in, so it should be in this direction. So it should be in this direction. Be mindful of the gear over here, because sometimes people have trouble, so you want to put it in like this. And there you go. So you want to start pulling this. And then if you look over here, this is where you enter the thing in. So you want to push through. So over here, this is one of the ways that they check if it's cut straight. So if you push through and it's not going through at all. So I pushed through, so you should meet some resistance, but it went through. If you keep pushing and it doesn't go through, that means it's not cut straight. Take it out again and snip it. So I'm gonna push through on this, and you want to keep wrapping this around everywhere around the tube. Around the tube, around the tube, around the tube. And then what you want to do is that you want to jut it out a little bit outside of the thing. So this is the right amount. So now I'm just gonna check it. So I have the filament, and then I have the chip. So now I'm just going to have the silicone gel in here. So now I have all three items. I have the filament threaded through all the way, jutted out a bit. I have the silicone gel, and then I have the chip. So I'm good. So I'm gonna close it. So there's that. Sorry. So I'm gonna go over here and hit unlock so I can undo the locking mechanism. So you hear that click. So now I'm gonna slide it through. It has to be in this orientation, and slide it in gently, and then keep holding it. Just keep holding it, and you heard that clicking noise. Just to make sure it's locked, just try pulling it out, and that works. So now if you go back up on the screen, you see, do you want to load filament? And I'm like, I have filament in, so yes. So now it's gonna feed in through the filament. So hopefully this successfully works. So here's some options that could go wrong while we're waiting it to feed the filament in. So what could go wrong? You didn't jet it out enough. So remember how I said that you want to jet it out a little bit outside of the box? If you jet it out too much, the printer will not be able to like pick up the filament. So you want to make sure it's the right amount, not too little, like that is not like jetting out a little, like it's not jetting out at all, or not too much that it won't be able to like grab it because it's too long. Also make sure it's cut straight. Before checking those though, however, make sure you have the chip in. If it doesn't have the chip in, it will never like accept the filament ever, and it will give you a pop-up screen saying does not detect filament. So make sure you do that and make sure it's in the correct orientation. Then you can obviously check the filament if it's cut straight, if it's not cut straight, and stuff like that. So that's how the filament works. So then after inserting the filament in, you should be able to print. So before leaving off this video, I just want to mention one more thing, which is the cleaning case. So after it is done inserting the filament in, it's going to have a pop-up saying to please remove the cleaning case. So I'm just going to wait for the printer. So while I'm waiting for the printer, every time you want to print, I want you to make an event on the Google Calendar. So in training, I will give you access to the Google Calendar. All you have to do is make an event with your name and checking the software. You want to see how much time your print takes, add 15 minutes to it, and then go to the Google Calendar, make your event at least a day before you want to print with your name as the event name, and then the time as how long it takes to print plus the 15 minutes. So there's that. So make sure you do that. Make sure you fill out the login and logout form. So here we have it, and it says the battery persistent. Please detach and attach the cleaning case. So open up the top hatch, and it tells you where the cleaning case is. So I'm just going to show you. Here is the cleaning case. All you want to do is you want to pull it out like this, like so. Just pull to the side. So here's the cleaning case, and it has some stuff in it. So all I want you to do is I want you to just empty it over the trash can. So while I'm over here, here's the 3D printer accessories box, which is where I said the scalpel would be. So you ever need the scalpel, you just go over there. So now I'm just going to walk back to the printer, and then I'm going to place it back in. So all you have to do is there's a slit here, and there's a slit right there. So you want to align them, and then you just want to push through. So there you go. You have your cleaning case in, and I'm going to say, yes, I detach and attach the cleaning case. Say, okay. So now you're good. Now you're done printing. So basically, those were all the steps I wanted to tell you. So make sure you just follow the checklist every time, making sure you fill out the login and logout form. You ever need help, just go over there. Make sure you make an event on Google Calendar a day before you start printing. So yeah, that's basically it. And please follow Google Calendar etiquette and printer etiquette. So thanks.